that's the quote-unquote established best version of it, but Sensei's diving top, divining top. But do they sit there and think for a moment, is Power Blast and Red Blast as strong as it ever was? I don't think it is. I don't think it's as strong. Especially when people are, they're not show and telling anymore into Omni or dig through timing. They're sneak attacking you. So much 4-color Delver, it's hard to resist a Blood Moon effect. For sure. Now, there are other ways you can achieve a Blood Moon-like effect. And we're going to touch on that in a moment. One of my favorite cards. This is just a thought tank, a think tank. To some of you guys, I'm sure I'm saying something very brash. Some of you people hold your miracles to be sacred. Blue, white, red is great. It's fine. I'm just stating the fact that the specific cards, one of the major reasons for being in red, isn't as strong. So maybe you could start to think about other colors. Call me crazy. You think Power Blast is still strong in the Sneak and Show era? Says Thought Control. Is it? I mean, but they run more permission than you regardless. The only way that you match up to their permission is the counterbalance top lock. And Sneak and Show is a very awkward CMC for miracles. It's 4. Sneak Attack is 4. So let's talk about Sneak Attack for a moment. In order, I mean, when you talk control decks, you don't really talk about what you think is good. You need to talk about the rest of the metagame. Building a control deck is metagaming. So with this back in the format, I'm just using this as an example. We're going to touch on Storm in a moment. I think that Hand Hate is much, much stronger against Storm than Power Blast or Red Blast ever will be. I still hold that to be true. So what about Sneak Attack? This is really hard to counterbalance. You can't Power Blast it. You can't Red Blast it. Red Elemental Blast it. You can counterspell this. You could Spell Pierce it. But what if you just Cabal Therapied it? You know? I don't know. You got any ideas? Purple? So we're gonna cut this package too. It doesn't seem very miracle-y. I'm not trying to deviate from what already works. I'm just saying I think that the splash might need a change. See you, Tropical. Don't need you. Maybe it's time to try a different splash. Give me a Caracas. Swan Song might just be better. Yeah, I mean, Swan Song is sweet. I don't know why people aren't playing that card. Miracles can easily deal with a 2/2. I like this card a lot. How's it going, Sifa? Like, this is awesome. This is so underplayed. Would I be supportive of an Esper Miracles? Absolutely, Arborian. Absolutely. I think that Therapy in a format without Dig is stronger again. Is strong. And has really strong interaction with Mentor, which is something the Miracles decks are already trying to do. You don't even have to run the probes. Maybe ban Miracles with... I don't think so, Gallagher. Nice try, though. I think you still want to be core blue-white, and then I think I just want to run a different color that I think would more favorably impact the metagame. I think that black is... I don't think I'm going to run him. But I think things like Dark Blast... I think Dark Blast is very strong. I think players overlook the power... I saw somebody put Dark Blast in their Grixis Delver. This was so powerful. This is such a powerful engine that could be in the Miracles repertoire, in the sideboard. I see plenty of games come down to can I, like as far as like playing something like Elves, I must find the Terminus. Well, what if you also had a Dark Blast? Surgical's irrelevant. You could run Surgical regardless of being black, but Dark Blast. Like, then you start to kind of see where my brain is going. I'm like, this is a very powerful card. You wouldn't run Null Rod because people are trying to Null Rod you. But you get things like Spellbomb. Yeah, it was Sand Party, wasn't it, Yoshi? If you're Esper, then Lingering Souls might just be better than Mentor. It's tough. Jace. Better target than Mentor. Not necessarily. Problem is Lingering Souls doesn't close a game. Lingering Souls doesn't close a game like a Jace can. But if we wanted to, we could run some number of... I think that Entreat the Angels is a really awkward card, and maybe instead of Entreats, we just run all the Mentors, or we just run Lingering Souls where we would run Entreat. I understand Entreat's very powerful. I think it's also the clunkiest card that people still try to run Miracles. I think it's very powerful. I'm not trying to say it's not. It's very powerful. I also think it's the clunkiest. And we're seeing a lot of soft permission back into the format. So when you have a lot of soft permission, it's really hard, much less to get a Jace on board. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to get an Entreat off, or it gets stifled. I saw several Miracles become stifled today when I was watching the coverage. Here we go. It's because it's a foil. I think I have one foil Jace, yeah. So we saw a bunch of I saw several Miracles. I don't know if you guys are watching the full coverage. I saw several Miracles stifled. I think that with Stifle being back in the format in a major way, I think that's another reason to not be playing Entreat. Call me crazy. I think it's powerful. I think it's a very, very powerful Miracle, but I think Terminus is still stronger as far as control. I'd rather just try to, I'd rather learn how to play the deck very quick, and that's what I'd rather do. I'd rather learn how to play the deck very quickly and still win off of the Mentors or the Jaces and leave something clunky like that alone. Don't have Counterbalance in? No, I don't own Counterbalances on here. And they actually went up huge because a lot of people are flocking to Miracles right now. But maybe it's something I could talk to Nate about borrowing. I don't necessarily want to play Miracles. We're just brewing this for giggles. Laughs and giggles. It's interesting to think about. Like everybody thinks, oh well, the perceived best color must be. It's like, no, man, not necessarily. You're welcome to think that way. That's not how I like to think, and that's not how I brew. I don't sit there and be stuck in my ways. I'm gonna try to tackle the format from a different angle. Always. I think with Storm and Sneak and Show being big presence. A larger presence, excuse me, in the meta, I think therapy is strong, and it works favorably with Monastery, Mentor. You get things like Dark Blast in the sideboard. I'm sure there are other black cards I haven't even begun to think about. But if you're still with me here, I appreciate it. Love brewing with you guys. And if you've already rage quit and said, "Rah rah rah, Miracles must always be splashing red, rah rah rah, burn the stream down," then you weren't right for this stream. You just don't have the right mindset. You just need to open up and maybe try something new every once in a while. Massacre if I want it. What about Toxic? What about a Toxic Deluge? This is a very powerful legacy card. What about a Toxic? What about Notion Thief? You get that on board against a Storm player, they don't... Oh, no. They started running Disfigures. It used to be that all they had was Abrupt Decay for creature removal. So you used to be able to stick things like Notion Thief. Let's not get too cute with the sideboard just yet. I think things like Dark Blast and Toxic would be sweet. You get to run Nile Spellbomb. Containment Priest. There's actually a chance to get our hands on some Containment Priests. This is going to be in the prize packs for the Cube coming out on the 18th, 10 days from now. So yeah, Containment Priest, a copy or two perhaps in the sideboard. It's very powerful. You want me to check this out? Sure, friend. Alright, so this is Purple Onion's take on Esper Miracles. I like what I'm seeing so far. Thoughtseize. Limb Duels. Yeah, Limb Duels could find the Entreat and time it correctly. I've always liked Limb Duels Vault. I think it's funny that people don't think about Limdual's Vault in the same sentence as Miracles. In fact, not that I'm trying to say that I thought of it first. I'm sure millions of people have. It's hard to be 100% original in Magic. Don't sweat it. I just like to try to be a little different. What did I do with it? Hang on, Esper. Basically, Esper, I think I was trying to do something of the sort. Or did we end up cutting Limdual's Vault because you guys hated it? I do that sometimes. I do listen to what you guys are saying. I think this was the deck where I had the Limdual's Vault and I must have cut it. But one of my favorite cards. And the idea was exactly what you're proposing, Purple. It would find the Entreat when you're ready to Entreat. Because Entreat, the problem with Entreat, I notice this time and time again when I watch Miracles, it always shows up at the wrong time. But if you had a card that could time the Entreat perfectly, like think of it like a Vampiric Tutor, except a fair one. And then you put the Entreat on top when you're ready for it. This is also a Humility deck, apparently. Let's see what else you thought of, friend. Where's the sideboard? There isn't one. Now, I think it can't be Thoughtseize, because one of the things about Cabal Therapy... Whoa, painful truth. I think it can't be Thoughtseize, because the problem with Miracles is you're going to draw out a game. One of the things that gets weaker over a long game, and this is one of the reasons why it might be crazy to think about Cabal Therapy, is Miracles wants to play a long game. But if you're all in on the mentors, are you really trying to play a long game? We're not running Limduals. Yeah, Limduals is actually was a mainstay of Finn's, and some Finn's players still play it. In fact, crap, I think I lost them we were working on. No, it's right here. Yes? No. Yes? Yes. Manticles. Sounds awkward. Doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be. Limduals plus Death Shadow is a cool combo too. Ballsy, but sweet. I like Limduals. I mean, like Limdual. Like people wouldn't necessarily think of Limduals alongside Entreat, but certainly, Purple, you and I are. Well, I'll credit you with that one. I couldn't find the proof that I put those in the same deck, so. I know I remember having it in the same deck, but I'll give that one to you, friend. Because your stream is also your stream is sweet. If you guys like Legacy, tune in Purple. Check him out. Purple, why don't you throw up your stream page so we can get some follows, friend? And his music is excellent. If you guys like something a little heavier than what I like to play on the stream, definitely a good place to go. But yeah, Limduals it times the Entreat for when you're ready for it. But I don't even think I want to run Entreat. I understand it's very powerful, I just feel like it's the clunkiest card. Now maybe since you're in the Esper colors, maybe you do run a one of Limduals and a one of Entreat, because you are in the color combination to make the Entreat less awkward. Be like, okay, I'm ready to Entreat. Limduals, okay, pay one, pay one, pay one. Oh, here it is. Boom, it's on top. Boom, Entreat. Whereas it would take a typical Miracles deck either luck or turns and turns and turns and turns and turns and turns to find their one of Entreat. So I would start here. I would start maybe with a shell like this, and we're gonna cut in places. You know, you cut some probes, probably add some lands. Maybe you cut a Snapcaster Mage. Maybe you actually cut a Mentor. Maybe you run a Vendilion Clique. Maybe you cut a Swords. That might be too many therapies. Maybe you only want 2 in the main. And then you bring these in against Storm. The problem with Limdual's Vault is you lose a card, says Rufus. Yes, it doesn't actually cantrip. That's true. It's card selection. Well, that's the same problem, though, Rufus, with Enlightened Tutor. It's the same exact problem. It doesn't cantrip. That's true. And I also have sometimes ambitiously cut some number of Ponders and